So my lesson today is based on what I'm going to be doing at the upcoming youth rally next weekend, but I'll make a few changes, and it will be pretty fresh by then. And so the topic is, I trust God will deliver me. And so throughout the Bible, God promises that he'll deliver us. For me, the most memorable of these promises can be found in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. Again, that's 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. It says, "There hath no temptation taken you, but as such is common to man. But God is faithful, who will suffer you not to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it." So this is just one of the many passages in the Bible where God promises that he'll give us deliverance. He promises us that when we are tempted, he'll provide a way for us to escape. In other words, he will help deliver us from it. So now that we know that God promises to deliver us, let's look at some of the examples of his deliverance. So turn to Psalms chapter 18. So this psalm is written by David, and in it he praises God for delivering him from his enemies, especially Saul. So in verses 1 through 3, he says, "I will love thee, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock, and my fortress, and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I trust, my buckler, in the horn of my salvation, in my high tower. I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised, so shall I be saved from mine enemies." So here we can see that God was David's fortress and rock, all talking about a strong place for him to look towards. He then says that God is his deliverer. After that, he says that he'll call upon him or pray to him, and he'll deliver him from his enemies. So from this, we can tell that David was able to put all of his trust into God because he was always able to deliver him. And then later in the chapter, he affirms these statements by saying in verse 46, "The Lord liveth, and blessed be my rock, and let the God of my salvation be exalted." And so because David continuously says things in this, not just in this psalm, there's tons of psalms that he talks about his deliverance, it further shows how reliable God is in his deliverances, and so we should trust him. Then also, in verse 48, it says, "He delivereth me from my enemies, yea, thou liftest me up above those that rise up against me. Thou hast delivered me from the violent man. Therefore I will give thanks to thee, O Lord, among the heathen, and sing praises unto thy name." So when God delivers us, it's important for us to thank him for what he did, like what David did. This thankfulness also helped him in future cases when he needed deliverance. And so our next example will be in Daniel chapter 3. So this is the example of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. And so in verses 16 through 18, we see Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's response to Nebuchadnezzar's commandment to worship his gods instead of the true God. It says, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up." We see that they would continue to worship the true God because they were confident that God would deliver them from the furnace. In this response made Nebuchadnezzar very mad, and he commanded his servants to heat the furnace 7 times hotter than it already was, which was so hot that whenever the servants threw the 3 into the furnace, it killed them. So you would have expected the 3 to immediately die in the furnace, but that's not what we see. In verse 24 and 25, it says, "Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God." And so after this, Nebuchadnezzar's mind was changed completely. Verses 29 and 30 say that, "Therefore I make a decree, that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there's no other God that can deliver after this sort. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego trusted God to deliver them, and because of this, God did deliver them, and their example caused God's word to be spread. And so from these examples, we can see that we truly can trust God to deliver us. This trust can also show other people God's power and help spread the gospel. If you have anything that you need, whether it be encouragement to trust in God more, or that you have not yet become part of his body yet and you have realized that you need to, please come forward as we stand and sing the song of invitation.